Okay guys, that was one bench done and the front. Let's move on to the next bench. Okay, this one here is the one that me and Laurie collected a year ago when it died. It's all gone black and crappy looking. You can see that. I'm not sure what I want to do with this, whether I want to carve it and have it as a feature all this stuff or just get rid of it, because there's still parts of the main trunk that survived. And if I come from here, this main trunk actually still looks pretty cool. So, not sure what to do. Whether I just have it as a single trunked tree now and do a bit of carving to the back of the tree where it died and just get rid of some of this other stuff, because it'd be surplus to requirements. Maybe leave some dead stubs that I carve out just to show where it came from. I don't know, but it was a bit of a pity because I wanted the whole thing to survive. But we got that new octopus tree, which hopefully will. My mate Phil was here on the weekend and he decided to hang his ton on there. So that's where he's hung his ton. You can see the sparks all died off. Look at the pretty cool wood underneath on these things. Olive wood's pretty cool. I'll just turn off the water so we don't get wet, because it's probably about to start. Alright, let's start on this side. So, on the end here, we've still got some good trees here. This one here is the olive tree. I've carved it out. Collected 5 or 6 years ago, something like that, 5 years ago. Did a heap of carving to that one as well. Fairly detailed carving. Carved out a stump down there. Another one at the back there, all carved out, and just developing the branch structure. You can see it's starting to look like a pretty cool tree. Getting more and more branching. Probably be about the final height of the tree. Maybe it'll go a little bit taller and just fill out some of these little, you know, pads or parachutes a bit more around the place. And it should be super cool in the future. Really happy with how that one's coming along. It's got super tiny leaves. You look at those super tiny leaves there compared to this one. They're quite big. These super tiny. So different olives have different leaves for sure. Okay, here we have crepe myrtle in this little cool pot. Suits the tree really well. Does keep it a little bit too wet because it's quite a shallow pot, almost too shallow. So it keeps this tree a little bit too wet, but having said that, it hasn't soaked and it's still got all its twigging. It's starting to reshoot. It's a really cool crepe myrtle with a really cool base. So really happy with that one. Growing really well. That one there, I think I grew in the ground for a fair few years. Behind it is the sheep-eaten olive, which come out of the sheep yard. Hard to get a good picture of it, but sort of hidden behind there a bit. But you can see the trunk looks like a lightning strike on one side. And that one came out same paddock as this one here. At the same time, and another one that came out at the same time was this one here. So this one's all completely hollow in the middle, completely dead apart from some live veins on the side, and then the live vein sort of goes up to the top up here, and then the tree is going to be sort of styled from there. That one's got a long way to go, but you know, one day. Box thorn with that massive base that I pulled out maybe for New Year's or something like that. last year, or maybe it was Australia Day. But massive, massive base, box thorn, and some really long branches. But I worked on that one not long ago, and you can see it's pushing out all new growth. Super happy with this new flexible growth. When it's young like this, it doesn't actually spike you. It's when it gets older that it gets those crazy spikes. But yeah, super soft and pretty cool at the moment, but it'll spike me soon enough. Just some Australian natives tube stock from that video. Another one there. There's a really cool crepe myrtle back there. I'll show you after. This is an ash tree. Needs some working on. We'll do that in a video very soon. It needs a full trim back. Maybe even a defoliation, because I don't mind having a defoliation. So you can see this one here has this crazy trunk, crazy bark. Look at that. It's an absolutely gorgeous, massive tree. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. Needs a good trim. Okay, and then we've got my very first ash tree ever. I can't ever remember whether these are desert ash or mountain ash. I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. It's an ash tree. And it's going pretty cool. I remember Phil, I was with Phil when we first got this tree. There was a shoot here and we cut it off, and this is all new, this whole left side. The right side with the older bark is part of the older trunk. We're actually looking, I think, at the front. I just got to tidy it up and cut some branches off eventually, but for now I'll leave it. And anyway, she's looking pretty healthy. This one here has a lot smaller leaves on it, and this one here gets massive leaves, so you can see them right next to each other. Smaller leaves, massive leaves. Just the vigor, I think. This one here is the Trident Maple. I'm letting it grow strong this year. It's got a decent root base. Nothing to write home about, but not bad. Maybe in time to come it'll become something. But fairly average tree at the moment. Okay, so here we got the Japanese maple, coral bark maple. It's got all its new growth starting to come out now. Buds are shooting everywhere. You can see the real red on the coral bark. Really cool. Do a top view of it. So you can see the top view where the branches are all spread around. You can see the roots down there as well. Absolutely beautiful roots. Look at the roots. Absolutely beautiful. Love that tree. Love the base. One day it will become something. It's getting there, but it's got a long way to go. Got a lot of growth to put on at the top. Okay, so this is a hawthorn that me and Laurie worked on at his house. Remember, it was only just starting to bud out, and that was only a few weeks ago. Have a look at it now. Absolutely beautiful, stunning tree. Starting to get into full leaf now. Probably a beautiful time because you can still see the branch structure. The leaves haven't completely covered the branch structure, but you can still get the green, so it's really cool. Must be super healthy this year because you've even got a bud coming back on the old wood here. And look at these flower buds. This thing is going to be absolutely riddled with white flowers, so I'll make sure I do an update on that. Shouldn't be too long, and she's going to get some flowers all over her. Absolutely beautiful. So it's a stunning tree, the hawthorn. You get a little bit of coarse growth on the tips, but manageable. Pretty cool. Really happy with that one. See if I can get a really good shot from underneath on that. Yeah, just really cool. Okay. Now what do we got? We got the peppercorn tree. Really cool peppercorn. One of the last ones to shoot out in the spring. Same with the mulberry. Bit of a sleeper innerer, if that's a word. He's a sleeper innerer. But look at the base on that thing. Probably a few spiders hiding in there somewhere. I don't want to come out and say hello. No. There'll be a few in there somewhere, don't worry. Look at this cool old base on here. This old trunk. Beautiful. Really cool. So it's a peppercorn. Flowered well last year, but no berries. So, you know, we'll see what happens in the years to come. This olive here. This was my very first sandpaper treatment tree, where I sandpapered smooth bark, and look at the old bark now. Seems to be getting more and more craggy as time goes on now. So you do that initial sandpapering, then it goes crazy, and it's getting a bigger and better base all the time, this tree. It's actually turning into a half decent tree. Super strong this year. Look at all the new growth. And this pot, you have a look at this pot, guys. Completely rotted away. Wood pot. It's been in this pot ever since I dug it out, ever since I collected it, I think. I don't think I've ever repotted it, I'm not sure. But yeah, crazy pot. Completely rotted out. But starting to become a cool tree. This one here's I think I called this a Sleepy Hollow tree. Had a real sort of daunting look about it. Carved it out. Unfortunately, a lot of these branches on the left died, so it's in the middle of reshooting. The apex is still alive up the top there. But I've got to work on that one soon and do a bit of restyling, because it needs to come back into some sort of decent style. And since it sort of died back on me a bit, I've neglected it a bit, which is not very nice of me, because it is still a cool tree and it will still be a cool tree. I just got to work on it. Okay guys, this is the wisteria that we did, that hollowed out and rotted out on its own. Couldn't really stop it. I've got super glue all over it now. That's the result of super glue. As you can see, the shininess is gone. So everyone was worried about it being too shiny from the super glue. The shininess is gone. And have a look at that wood. This is the wisteria. Look at that wood. That's all natural, rotted out. Absolutely stunning. Big too, really big. Like I can get my whole hand through that gap. Pretty cool. That's a really cool tree. And also, this tree, almost fully hollow, it's just starting to put out all its flower buds. So, be interesting to see how many flower buds it puts out this year. But they're a bit varied. The ones down here are slow. Down here is slow. And then at the top, we've already got it starting to go into its purple. So, there you go. Absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous flowers. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of show it puts on this year. And it's even healthy enough that it's put on this little shoot at the back. I hope you guys can see that. So I'm going to keep that little shoot at the back, which will give it some good depth back there. So that's pretty cool that that one's shot. Really happy with that. See how she goes in the future. Okay, so this is my little cool olive. Been super happy with this olive. It's just developed beautifully its whole life. Got a little tiger, tiger in there. It's going super good. This one here has scale as well. You can see all the muck on the leaf there. Bad scale as well. I've got to get in there and do something. Yeah. Anyway, I'll sort that out, don't worry. So that's a cool tree. Just happy with it. You can see the spots on the leaf there. So just to show you too, like, you know, I get scale and pests and diseases as well. And the more trees you get, the more likely you are, because it'll jump from tree to tree. So here's the Australian red river gum. Growing really, really well. Really strong growth. Just needs another trim. So it's all part of the same root system. You used to slash it at work, slash over it with a slasher, and that whole those 3 or 4 trunks there are all connected. I think there's 3. They're all connected to the one root system at the bottom, all part of the same tree. So really cool. Needs to work soon, so we'll get to that one. Here's another Melaleuca that I did as a mallee style. This one, when I collected it, I put it in that gravel full of water, and it just soaked for 2 years. And you can see it's getting some lichen and stuff on the trunk. Most of the branches have all survived since it's, you know, repot into actual bonsai soil now instead of in the water. Looks like there's a dead section on the tree there, but that's fine. So maybe this whole side has died, I'm not sure. But, you know, it's a really cool tree. In fact, that'll make a feature anyway. Really cool. So that's going to be a mallee style as well. So excited about that. Here we've got an olive that I found on the side of the road, pushed up from a bulldozer, and it was a stump, and it's shot on the side of the stump. So that live vein actually goes all the way up to here, and it's actually still alive. So you got the stump with all the cracks and the dead bits in it, and then you've also got the live tree on the side of it. So that's really cool. In time, that will become a really cool tree. Another olive. We're actually looking at the back of this one. It's all hollow. You can see some carving, fully hollow. Oh, hello, hello. And yeah, you can see that. Going to be an okay tree. Not quite the style I like, but you know, I mean, not the style that I like, but this one's a bit weird, that's all. This straight live bit and that, but it'll be pretty cool. Alright, now we got the forest planting of apricot, Moorpark apricot. Now, I don't know whether it's because it's just shooting out or what, but these leaves seem quite small this year, which is going to be interesting in time, and whether I can reduce the leaf size on the Moorpark. But really cool, really nice spring growth. I feel like it's going to be a pretty cool forest in time. Super happy with how it's going. Moorpark apricot. Who would have thought you could do a forest out of that? But there you go. Bloody awesome. Okay, well, light is starting to go down, but the last bench is not going to take us very long, so we'll be right. So here we got a Turkish oak. Look at the bark on the Turkish oak. So Turkish oak is actually a semi-evergreen, semi-deciduous. So what happens is it holds on to the old leaves, but then when the new ones harden off, the old ones will drop off. So it's semi-evergreen, semi-deciduous, and on a really cold winter it can drop off most of its old leaves, but not all of them. It will always have some sort of leaf on it. Quite big leaves, Turkish oak, but really cool bark, super cool bark. Hopefully in time I can open it up a bit and show a bit more of the trunk. But the growth on it is so vigorous. Look at this. This is all spring growth. Absolutely crazy. Turkish oak, give one a go. This is a hawthorn forest. Okay. It doesn't look anything special because these side ones look like they're hanging out too far. But the idea is I want them to grow up and fill in that area. And also this main tree has always been slow to grow. I want this main tree to get really vigorous and get a lot higher than the rest of them. But it just seems really slow to do it. So see how we go with that one. Maybe in time it will. The ugly silver birch with the beautiful base that we did a video on not long ago. Super cool. Just love sitting in here under this shade thing and in amongst all the trees. Sometimes I get a deck chair and I just sit down in here. Okay, lemon tree. This is from a seed. I grew this from a seed. Maybe 9 years ago I chucked a seed in and just to see what happens. Probably 10 years ago. So this could be a rootstock. It might never get lemons. I could probably graft it. It had bad scale this year, but it does have all brand new growth, which is really healthy looking, and it's got a really cool base on it and some pretty good structure really. So don't worry about the leaves, that's fine. Worry about the structure. That's pretty good structure. The cuttings from the Chinese elm, you can see they're all budding out, looking good. The cuttings from the maple, coral bark, no, the normal maple, so far not doing anything. Portulaca from Lance Richards. And look at this cool tree here. This is a crepe myrtle again. Really big, strong base on this thing. And getting beautiful, beautiful branch. And the only thing it needs now is a pot. It's really starting to come into its own, really looking cool now. Getting really good twigging, branching. Just needs a pot. Look at that thing. Gorgeous. Really good roots. Really good tree. So even though I've rejigged all this area, it's still super crowded. Still hard to see individual trees on their own, but they are better. I must admit, I can see more. Here's one of those $3 tube stocks. Have a look at this one here, how fat it's getting, how quick. It's already as fat as my thumb. Actually a little bit fatter. And that will become a tree in no time at all the way it's going. It's actually got good shape, good divisions. Going to be a really cool tree. That's that sheep-eaten olive again from the back. Pretty cool tree. Pretty cool thing altogether. Right, here's another olive. This one I've had since I very first started. And it's always had weak growth. But this year it's actually got some good strong branches, and it didn't drop a lot of its branches. Normally the branches grow out like this and then they all die back into here every year, whereas this year it hasn't. So excuse me, hopefully that's a sign of things to come. There is no back branch on it, so I've bent this weird branch around here. I'm going to see how it goes, but if it continues to look ugly like it is now, I'll cut it off. But I'll see. It might end up becoming a bit of a back branch. Who knows? Side branch. But this one struggled. Really has. Always has. I think the idea is you'll look at it from here somewhere. So I did the carving on this. So the carving and the deadwood actually looks pretty good. But yeah. The branch structure, I suppose, from here is not too bad. But certainly ugly if you look at it from that way. The other one collected 5 years ago from an olive grove. You can see all these live veins growing up the side. Pretty cool. Okay guys, so I collected with the Massey, no not the Massey, the Fordson tractor at the neighbour's place, and this is the bottle brush that I collected, and you can see I've had to actually turn the light on because natural light's disappearing, so I've got the light on now. But you can see all these new growth coming on it everywhere, so that one's actually going to be really cool in the future, and it's growing. It's actually got a good base buried under there, so that's pretty cool. Okay, here we got the other one that I collected with Laurie last year. So this one here died apart from that one side. This is the other one that I collected just with a chainsaw. I just chopped off a big cutting, and when I say a big cutting, I mean like I chopped it off as a cutting. And look at the size of this thing. Absolutely massive. And it just hasn't looked back. Look at the growth on it. Miles up in the air. And that's how I would normally think an olive would go. That's how they normally grow. I reckon this tree weighs at least 2 ton. Looking at that. 2 ton tree. But yeah, that one there is how an olive should really grow once you collect them. And I've selected a few branches and I'm just letting them grow out really strong this whole year. I won't touch it, and I'm going to let them grow super strong all year and see what it ends up like at the end of the year to really fatten up at the base of them. This is the main point of that. Here's an olive that's got some really cool dead features and some weird live veins, reverse taper. It's such an ugly tree, but you know, like a pug dog. Ugly, but absolutely gorgeous at the same time. So I'm hoping to get that into a pot maybe next year. Back here we've got, hard to see, but this is a Melaleuca swamp paperbark. So pretty cool. Don't know what this type of one is. Some sort of bottle brush maybe. But it's got really long leggy growth. I'm going to have to cut it back hard and see what happens. Got the Manchurian pear. Really nice base. This has such red autumn colours. Absolutely stunning. And I've just put it in a big pot, and I'm hoping that it grows good. So a lot of this stuff's going to be hard to show you in here because I've crammed it in. This is more like the grow area, away from the main area where it's kept, you know, most of my good trees. This one here is actually a really cool tree in a nursery container. This one here has got some super cool deadwood features. It's got this live vein up here which is so weird, like a question mark almost, and that one shoots off up into the apex up here. Then it's got this deadwood feature up here. It's all dead and carved inside there. So that was another big carving project that I did, but super cool. So really happy with that one. I'm going to work on that one very soon, so you guys will see an update on that one soon. And unlike the other olives, this one doesn't have any scale, I don't think. And this one here also has the tiny leaves. So some have small leaves, some don't. I think it's just variation of the seed, because they're all grown from seed, but who knows. So this here is the box thorn that I ripped out. Pretty cool. I'll just turn the flash off. I'm wondering whether the flash off or on is better, because it does wash it out a bit. But yeah, pretty cool. The sun has pretty well set out there. Anyway, we're pretty well done. So we got the olive. That was just a cutting from the main one of that tree collected last week. See how that goes. Got some $3 tube stocks everywhere here that we've put into bigger pots and letting them grow. That one's starting to get a bit of a base to it. All sorts of stuff. Seth's doing some cuttings of a box. See how that goes. He also did a hawthorn cutting, which is actually shooting, so that's pretty cool. Seth did his first cutting that's shooting. I don't know what this one here is. Maybe some sort of a Melaleuca, but it does actually have reasonable structure down there, so I might cut it back hard soon. This Melaleuca has actually got a big base to it, but you can't see it because it's hidden. This is a Boobiala in flower. Pretty cool. Some orchids that I repotted the other day. It's my daughter's ficus. The only ficus in the bonsai area. A plum. All brand new leaf all over the plum. Pretty cool. Over the back, we got a fruiting peach tree that really died back. You can see all the deadwood on it. It really died back because I defoliated it thinking that it would shoot out good, but it didn't like it at all, and the whole top died. It's dead down to there somewhere. So don't defoliate a peach tree. Not a great idea, but look at the deadwood in it. It's pretty cool for a peach tree. Sun's boxthorn. Okay. These trees that are planted in the ground, the Indian flame tree, I put them in the ground as a shade tree, not realizing they actually can get some really decent thorns on them. This one's not too bad, but one of the other ones has really big thorns on it. But have a look at this. First year that it wants to flower. It's got this big flower bud. Turn the flash on again. I think the flash is better. Okay, so you can see the flowers there starting to get ready to push out. Pretty cool. Here you got a heap of them. Gonna flower. Almost looks like the buds on the end of a mole plant. Pretty funny. Oh, here's the thorns here. Look at this one. Look at that. I didn't realise. I have to walk past this all the time. For some reason, some of them seem to be getting these thorns and some don't. But crazy thorns. Not ideal. Not ideal. So, look how tall it is. Almost top of the shed now. New leaf on that shoot. This one's not going to flower this year, but the other one is. Alright, so this was Big Little John. All the leaves died off, very unexpected. I cut it back. I thought it would have just budded back out, but all the leaves have died off. I've got to keep an eye on it, but it nearly looks cactus, which is very strange for a bottle brush. We'll see how it goes. This one here I cut back, just see how it back bud, and it did back bud. So that's another Melaleuca. Here's the little juniper that we worked on. I think the front's around this side. So we styled it and worked on it. Something like a nursery juniper to a bonsai. It was only like $12 or $15. But it's starting to put out all new growth now, so that's pretty cool. It's getting new growth everywhere, it's happy. We repotted everything on the same day, and it's happy. Some of the $3 tube stock growing, going fine. Oh, how's this for funny? So this is a daughter's, this is her box. Actually really cool structure in there. This is her English box. Look at that, really cool structure. Really cool tree actually. And it's actually got good roots hidden in there. But, how's this? This is it in the pot. Look, I'll lift it out. Oops. I'll lift it out. Look at it. That was in that tiny skinny pot. It started out where my thumb is there, buried to there, and it's just pushed itself up out the pot. And in the middle, apart from the earwigs, that goes right down deep in there, almost to there. Well, not earwigs, millipedes, Sam. So let's flick them out of there. Pretty hard to flick them out and show you guys on camera, but I flicked them out. But yeah, that goes right in there, and the drainage screen's probably stuck in there because it's not down there anymore. But yeah, she seriously needs to repot her tree. Look at that. I'm just going to repot it for her in a video, I think, but very funny. I've never seen anything push that far out of its pot. It's probably 4 times the height, or at least 3 times the height of its original pot. So very funny. Very cool structure though, really cool structure. So gonna have to repot that for her. She's a bit slack. Portulaca, this little cool Portulaca as well. This little cool pot, I put it in this little cool pot. Really cool. Lance Richards tree. Here's the almond tree, growing strong here. Nice, you know, nice growth on it. It's really healthy this year, growing really well. You guys would have seen the super flowers that it had. Massive amount of flowers. And now it's putting on some good growth. Yeah, pretty cool. Good growth on the almond. Just some, you know, stock trees. Another Melaleuca. Maybe a, what's that, white cloud tree? Bracteata or something like that. Really cool. Here's a forest of honey myrtle Melaleuca. But bloody spider mites have got in there and killed off these trunks. They're actually still just alive, but I've got to seriously get to them as well. So spider mites and scale are my biggest problem right now, but otherwise pretty happy. Little tea tree. So I've got a couple of tea tree, just experimenting with them. And I'm going to get a nice flower here. Look at this. A couple more here. Couple more flowers. And yeah, really cool little leaves. Beautiful little things. In the light of this phone, it's getting a bit washy, but I hope you guys can see things. So that's the almond tree, growing super strong. Needs a cut back very soon. And last tree, I think. This is a collected olive with a screwdriver. I'll just turn the light off again. Yeah, it's probably better. Collected olive with a screwdriver from the side of the road. Multiple trunk, growing really strong at the moment. Good growth on it, ready for a trim. So that's that. I do have one more thing to show you just outside. I'll just go and show you around the side of the shed here. Okay guys, so this is the other two that we collected with the Fordson tractor. This one here is still green under here, so could very well still shoot. Surprised it hasn't yet. But this silver mulga bush, it's actually got a really cool base in there eventually when I get to it. Silver mulga bush has actually got new shoot on it. I didn't think the wattle liked to backbud that much, but there you go. And there's also, just try and find some, a few more little buds pushing out, like that one just there. And pretty well doing that over a fair bit of trees. So just, you know, it's just getting going. Hopefully it'll be fine. There's not too many of them happening, but It's showing signs, you know, and everything's still green underneath in the bark. So anyway, so that's about it. Luckily it's super calm, so you hopefully didn't get any wind noise. And that's about it. So no worries. Cheers for watching, Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your mates about the channel. Check out No Rules Bonsai on Facebook if you want to. And I hope you really enjoyed this tour. There's some trees in the background there on the shelter belt which are growing, but it's got a bit dark. So we'll catch you next time. Hope you enjoyed the tour. Cheers.